Hi, LEMC church community. This is a brief transitional update to both inform you and assist you in praying for LEMC in this season. Our goal is to provide you with a summary of transitional steps that have been taken from council, as staff, and with my guidance as transitional coach. You know, since I started at the end of June, 10 hours a week, I've been thankful for many things. Even while there are matters which require ongoing work that need continual healing, I've observed a ministry council willing to pause to reflect deeply on the matters of how they operate, the decisions that they are taking, and the matters of governance, and who've stepped in to assist in operational leadership of the church with the staff and core ministry leaders. There's been solid continued pandemic management that has been coming from ministry council and staff, and equipping and helping core council, that is the CMLs and the staff and the ministry council, all working together on establishing goals in this time of transition. I've really enjoyed my time working behind the scenes with these groups of people. But because of COVID, I've also chosen to make myself available, starting with listening to individuals and groups. And I've invested over 50 hours of listening and documenting dreams, hopes, unresolved tensions over where the church is at, and the level of engagement that people have with the church's current mission and vision. As many of you know, I was specifically asked to assist the church in relational renewal and structural renewal, and I've also been preaching about once a month. Since I'm here to support the church in a coaching role, I'd like you to first hear from two representatives from council and one member of the LEMC staff, and then I'll follow up with some of the next steps that are in the works. So here are Amy Brubaker and Jason Gradanis with a few words from council.
Thanks, Joel. Early this year, the council knew that this time of transition would require some outside help and secured a transitional coach in June, Joel Zanting. Joel will report on some of the relational and structural renewal pieces that we have been working on. Another step we have taken to assist us in reviewing our human resource policies has been contracting the support of a church HR consultant. Over the fall and winter, we will begin to review and consider potential updates and changes to our HR policies. As required, council will communicate with the membership, and if any changes require approval, such as bylaw changes, we will ensure that members have the opportunity for input and comment in advance of the necessary vote to approve the change. With these outside supports, we are able to get the objective guidance to identify the staffing supports we are giving as council and to receive the support we need to ensure a healthy and solid foundation for LEMC as we move forward. As Joel has mentioned, we have been stepping up our role where the previous lead pastor had a responsibility in things like quarterly staff check-ins and CML support. We have also expressed our willingness to meet with members, which has been done both in response to people's requests and proactively.
Thanks, Amy. As council, we are committed to transparency with our members and congregation. We do this by ensuring members have access to our bylaws, so you can all be confident in how we are structured. There should be no surprises in the congregation as to how the ministry council, church members, and staff are held accountable to one another and operate within the bylaws that have been approved. There is a hard copy of all of our bylaws, policies, and council minutes in the church office that can be viewed at any time simply by making a request. Transparency also means that we take time to share any proposed changes to policies or our organizational chart, how we structure our staff and ministries, and give time for you to ask questions and give input. This is one reason we are calling a town hall meeting, which all of you are invited to attend on November 2nd, in person or by live stream. We want to report to you that one of our elected ministry council members, Renee Biswitherick, resigned this month. In part, this is due to her own personal ongoing health issues, but also because she realized, while sitting on council, that she was feeling unsettled about the process undertaken in Pastor Jeff's removal, and would rather focus her available time and energy serving in Jube in this season. We are grateful to God for her integrity and gifts, and how she is committed to serving Christ in the church. We want to thank those who have connected with council over the past few months, both with encouragement and with hurts, and we look forward to continuing to pursue our mission to lead people in a growing, passionate relationship with Jesus.
Hey everyone, it's good to just share with you today on behalf of all the staff. It's been energizing being able to work together as a staff team through these past number of months. Laura continues to listen and care for people through her interactions and phone calls and emails at the LEMC office. Joyce has reestablished her full kids programming on Sundays, as well as Jube kicking off now for grades 4 to 5. Dylan works through the week recording, editing, and preparing for Sundays and other stuff that is going on for ministries. And Abe and Anna keep our facility super clean and always prepared and set for us for events, which is just so awesome. For myself, I continue to take active roles on PCCM, in council meetings, in leading core council and staff meetings, acting as Sunday core ministry leader through this time, and leading our youth ministry, which just kicked off this week. We've been continuing to grow in our cohesion as a staff team, which is just awesome. Sharing our testimonies with each other, doing a retreat together to listen to God this summer, and strengthening our team health and collaboration and communication. I'm so thankful for how each of our staff members have really risen to the challenge to step up and face challenges together, and how we've grown in our connections as a team over the past number of months. Coming out of a largely online year, we've welcomed some additional people at staff meetings to navigate our strategy for how to continue to care for the ongoing faith development of those who participate in our online ministries, services, small groups, that kind of thing, while also refocusing some attention on those who are in person as our capacities increase. We've also had volunteer input on our welcome process and Sunday scheduling, both to make things easier for ministry leaders and lighter on our staff as well, since we're less staffed now than we were this time last year. But also so that for volunteers, there's a more team-oriented, relational, purposeful atmosphere and ongoing relationships in teams on Sundays. A huge thank you to our CMLs, to our small group leaders, youth, kids, 50-plus leaders, every one of you actually that is continuing to live for Jesus, up, in, and out. It's these things from individuals like you as you follow Jesus that keeps us inspired, that keeps me inspired and encouraged and excited to be a part of this church and a part of leading this church. So thank you to you. I also want to thank council for caring very well for us as staff through this time, regularly being present at staff meetings to keep us in the loop about what's going on and to listen to us well. And we're so thankful for Joel, who's just been a great gift to all of us. So I'm going to invite him back up.
Thank you to you, Carter, and the rest of the staff team represented in that update. Here are some of the things that are in the works that I wanted to talk to you about. First, the relationship between the members and the leaders is high on my priority and is being worked on. As I've been listening to members and hearing a whole range of views of the life of the church, Some are very positive on the way that they're being helped in their relationship with Christ, their sense of community, their daily life, and their satisfaction with many aspects of the church life. But others still relay the negative impact that they're experiencing from Pastor Jeff's removal last December, which for some has brought up old wounds even of previous staff departures and removals. And so as I've witnessed and sat with people who have unrest and hurt and grief over the process and the communications about the release of Pastor Jeff with some members, others have gone so far as to wonder about the integrity and character of council members. And still others are wondering whether they can be a part of the church going forward. And all of these perspectives matter to Jesus, the Lord of the church. To that end, in this area of working on this relationship between members and leaders, there are a couple of things. First off, in all situations of transition, I encourage everyone to take a wider perspective. This is about our relational renewal in the Lord, growing in unity, and restoring trust where it's been broken. The council's apology for their abruptness in the process of releasing Pastor Jeff came to you as a congregation early in the new year. And the actions taken were not beyond their authority, but were done in a way that was perceived by some as calloused or cold. And I've spent time with those involved and those who worked closely in the leadership circles, and can attest that although this has created some concerns and even tear in the body, that like most pastoral departures, this one is more complex, more layered than any one person's view. Because I started over half a year past Pastor Jeff's removal, there are only two specific actions that I'm recommending at this time. The one is I've recommended that council consider the timing, necessity, and readiness to participate in a reconciliation meeting with Pastor Jeff, including former council members from the last 2 years, if this opens up. And I keep revisiting this with readiness among all the parties involved. Reconciliation requires everyone is ready to come to the table with humility and a desire to bring healing. And you could just pray for hearts to align and for God to make a way for what he intends to happen, that it will come to pass. And also I invite everyone who's holding on to any bitterness or grudges against those involved to do what we are all called to do in these situations, to release it to the Lord, to talk with leaders. I perceive that the transition you are in actually began much earlier than December 2020, as early as 2018, and involves elements of staff culture at the church, the need for more leadership development for council members, CMLs, and volunteers, and the struggle to work through conflict and address differences in healthy ways. As with all transitions and the range of perspectives that you have in your congregation, it is really critical for us to bring this back to the Lord, because transitions are not always strategic mistakes. There may be spiritual work that needs to be done. There may be HR and governance mistakes. For instance, your employment contracts have excluded any clauses agreeing on ending the employment, which is not advised and is not best practice. Why was this missing? The HR consultant will help to sharpen the quarterly reviews and annual contract language in keeping with your bylaws and best practice in human resources. The council members are not perfect, but they do love Jesus, and they want to see the church be fruitful and faithful in the work of Christ. Pastor Jeff is a midlife leader with tremendous gifts, whom God can and will use in the coming days as the Lord leads him and Sue and their family through this transition. I will tell you that I have known Pastor Jeff and family around 25 years. We've served at camp together in those early days. And I have been welcomed into their home in this season and am supportive of them processing their own transition. Pray God's blessing upon them and upon the church. I also encourage all of you to come to the upcoming town hall meeting on Tuesday, November 2nd, or tune into the live stream. This meeting will present some opportunity to come together outside of the usual worship and team meeting times to pray together as a congregation, members and other participants, to pray about the transition and to hear from council on some conceptual restructuring ideas, not firm plans. Then you can give your input in order for council to present proposals to you in the new year, in time for any proposed changes that require being brought to the ABM. and more information will be coming out a couple weeks ahead of November 2nd. LEMC must grow its culture of care and kindness. I see you as a congregation that has some deep love for one another and inclusion of new people and outsiders. I have felt welcomed. But as I've met with staff and interacted with members and have advised on interpersonal relationships, there are some people who are experiencing a lack of love. As followers of Jesus, we must address anything lacking in our love for one another. Otherwise, it's hypocritical to show kindness to strangers, but ignore how we have broken relationship as brothers and sisters in the Lord. It was Jesus who commanded us this plainly: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. John 15. Also, LEMC must consider God's desired transformation for the future. The work of structural renewal is never about doing what other churches are doing that might be fresh and trendy and cool, but about considering how God may be inviting this church to change, to become more effective in following and helping others follow Jesus as a community on mission together. Part of the town hall meeting will involve some participation from all who are present in imagining the future together. And the council are exploring some governance models and staffing models that work well for the church, that create this balance in the worship, programs, and events, the times that we're gathered together for inspiration, for teaching, centered on God's word, and for witness. That is how we are the church scattered in our households, workplaces, and out in society. What changes might help us be effective in cultivating up, in, and out lifestyles as followers of Jesus? And the council have also been very wise in supporting Pastor Carter in this transition. As can happen, associate pastors who serve during transition can experience increased responsibilities on their shoulders. And council and staff are working together to ensure that all areas of ministry responsibility are covered, that major areas of ministry aren't falling through the cracks, but that any changes of role for Carter would be done slowly and carefully, with sufficient support brought alongside. All of this will be done honoring due process for any structural changes for staffing, events, and church calendar. I'm going to invite the board members back to conclude our thoughts today.
So in closing, thanks for spending these minutes with us. From council, staff, and Joel, we would like to say thank you for your continued prayer, faithful service, and contributions in this life of the church, and your life of witness for Christ in the community. How we continue to walk the road of transition is also a part of our testimony, willing to grow and be shaped by the Lord to become more fruitful and faithful as branches of the vine. John 15.
If you have any questions or comments about anything you have heard in this update, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us. Let's continue to make a difference for Jesus in his kingdom as we lead people in a growing passionate relationship with Jesus, up, in, and out. Thank you.
Thank you.